Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Christmas. Welcome to your Game Week 18 team news. My name is Tom, and today I'm joined by Neale. As ever, does Neale celebrate Christmas? I don't know, or is he just watching press conferences? Neale, how are you?
Yeah, Christmas for me is FA Cup weekend, FA Cup third round weekend because we don't do anything that weekend. So I'm wishing these next few weeks away until then. I have got some time off around New Year, so that I'm looking forward to that. But I secretly love all the football at this time of year, and I've actually got some team news which I don't think I'd have a full complement, and I haven't quite got that. But most of the managers have actually faced the media now. We've got a couple of stragglers, but we'll talk you through those in a second.
Yeah, for sure. So this will, obviously we're recording this on Christmas Eve. This will be going out on the podcast on Boxing Day morning. So by then we'll have the Liverpool news, and do check the website before you make your final decisions. So if you're listening on Boxing Day, I hope you had a good Christmas. And if you're watching on Christmas Eve, I hope you have a good Christmas. I'm my Christmas jumper. So that's good fun. Neale didn't get that memo, but on we go. Um,
I've got Christmas boxer shorts on, but I'm not showing you those.
no, we don't want to keep this PG. Um, cool. So first game, Man City against Everton. City seem to be getting a new injury every week. So what's happening there?
Yeah, Pep is one of the ones who has faced the media. He might as well have not bothered because he didn't really tell us much, as usual. He was asked firstly about Nunez and Edison, who missed out on game week 17, and he said he wasn't sure yet. They've got training to come, and he hasn't talked to the doctors yet. And he was then asked about John Stones, who came off at half time. Again, needs to consult the medics, but he did say if he couldn't continue in the second half at Villa, it's because he will not be ready. So he sounds like a doubt. They've also got Diaz, Rodri, and Bob out as well. But Ake did make the bench last weekend. He was back a little bit sooner than I thought he was.
Nice. And then Everton, touch and go.
Yes, yeah, touch and go, but then he slightly downgraded that prospect to I think around about a 25%. I think he said it would probably be too soon for McNeil, Sean Dyche, who's got this niggly knee thing and looks doubtful whether he's going to be available. Garner and Eric Bonham are still out. Ashley Young's suspended, 5 yellow cards, but Broja is back. He couldn't face Chelsea in game week 17.
Cool. Moving on to Bournemouth against Crystal Palace. Bournemouth first.
Yes, so starting with the definites, Sinistera, Scott, Araujo, Senesi, and Tavernier all out. Arola then mentioned some niggles, but didn't say there was anything new in the squad in terms of major concerns. However, in the embargoed section later in the day, he did say that Adam Smith was taken off at half time at Old Trafford with muscle tightness, a bit like the issue that Semenyo had, was it last week? A bit of more tightness than an actual injury. So we're going to see if he can recover for Boxing Day.
Yeah. Crystal Palace, Eze could be back.
Yeah, it sounds like it. He has trained, and they're going to see what the reaction is going to be like, but it looks positive. Munoz is back as well. He had a suspension in game week 17, but he's available. Riyadh, he played for the under 21s last week, so again, he could be close. So I think it's just Franca and Wharton who are definitely out.
Yeah. And Chalabar is, well, that was just, he was just dropped, I guess, or rested.
Yeah, I mentioned that today. He's fine. It was just that was the third game in a 3 game week because they played in a midweek cup match as well when the team was pretty much unchanged. So this was just a bit of rotation. And I suspect, given how that right hand side went against Arsenal, that it'll be Chalobah and Munoz back in there this week.
Cool. Moving on to Chelsea against Fulham. Chelsea, same as they were, but Cucurella's back.
Yeah, pretty much that's it. Bang on, Tom. I think Reece James is starting to train, isn't he? But he's obviously a way off being
Yeah.
in competitive action.
Yeah, I think that possibly Cucurella in for Disasi. Madueke may be in as well. But yeah, should be. I'd be pretty confident on Jackson. I think. I'm not.
Yeah,
What about
that's
you?
going to be the question, is it? But when he's going to rotate, not if. And I would suspect more against Ipswich. Would you think if he is going to blood those second strings
Yeah,
like Nkunku and yeah?
I mean
Because I
the
think
space.
probably
There's
this
an
team
extra day this time compared to
there
Southampton,
is, there is. Yeah,
and Fulham is obviously a much tougher game. I can't imagine. I can't see it being Jorgensen and Kunku and all change. I can't see that.
That was my England as well, but I'm glad to hear that because that'll firm up my prediction. I think in the team news tab.
Yeah. Fulham, there's a few doubts for Marco Silva.
Yes, there are. Yeah, three midfielders. Smith Rowe, who missed out altogether at the weekend. They also saw Lukic and Berger pick up problems. Now, Lukic, I think Silva said he'll probably be ready this afternoon. Berger is still a doubt with an ankle knock. And then he said, let's see on Smith Rowe. He did say it's probably too early to be sure about all of those, and they're going to have to keep assessing them. So they're the three concerns. Tetty and Nelson and Reed are all out, but they do get Andreas Pereira back from suspension.
Yeah. So Castagna will be good to go for the foreseeable. So I brought him in last week, so although
me too.
Hopefully Chelsea get a few this weekend. Yeah. Moving on to Newcastle against Villa. Your team, Newcastle, sounds like they're going to be out, but Eddie Howe keeps slightly teasing Nick Pope and Botman.
Yeah, Pope will be a while. He'll be out until I think February or so. Botman's imminent. It's just when he'll be back in the next, I think, 2 or 3 game weeks. Could be this weekend, could be on the bench, or this Boxing Day. Sorry. He did say he'll have to work his way back into the team, and it will be a while, I think, before he starts a Premier League game. I suspect he'll get that FA Cup game against is it Bromley we've got. So I think that'll be his first start. Thereafter, of course, he'll be unsettling Dan Burn. Lascelles and Wilson still out. Emil Kraft still out as well, although he's back on the grass. Willock's fine, despite coming off, just a little bang to his head, but he's all right. Joe Linton's back after suspension, but he will have a check on some facial injuries that he sustained against Brentford in the cup last week. I think just a couple of stitches. So hopefully he'll be all right.
Cool. Aston Villa says no team news, but I think someone said that Jacob Ramsey's been training. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, he's been unavailable since the November break. Emery didn't give us anything in the broadcast section yesterday. But yeah, I think he's very close, Ramsey. Apart from that, Diego Carlos, he just missed out against City with a small pain from a kick in training, so he could be back. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yep. Obviously, Duran started 3 in a row. Watkins, there's a suggestion of a minor injury, but I guess after you've just beaten City, you're not going to change it.
Yeah, he did have that. Certainly the second start that Duran made of the 3, Watkins was struggling, wasn't he, before that match? He might not be fully fit. And there's a decent turnaround between sort of Saturday and Thursday. So Duran did so well off the ball. That was the main sort of criticism of him, wasn't it, before that match, that he graft like Watkins does? But he did, and he's scoring at a quicker rate than anybody else in the Premier League. So I would not hold that much hope for Watkins starting this week.
Yeah, and Touchwood Rodgers just plays every game. It seems to be a machine at the minute.
Ever-present starter this season,
yeah. Moving on to Forest against Tottenham. Nottingham Forest, anything substantial?
Not much. Nuno does this every week, where he says we're just assessing players, so he didn't mention names in particular. We weren't really aware of much. I mean, Sangari and Danilo have been out for months. Danilo's close, he's in training, so it's just, again, when, not if, he's back. Dominguez won't be involved. That's the one bit of good news. One bit of new news. It's not good. He is suspended. 5 bookings again. A lot of these are this time of year, and he will sit out this match.
Yeah, Forest went to a back 3 on the weekend, and so that could change, I guess, because that was maybe a one-time thing, or
possibly to combat Brentford's setup and aerial strengths. Also, because Yates was a doubt going into that match, and he's a sort of one-ish. He's not even a proper 6, but he's just one sort of defensive midfielder they had, and he was on the bench. So maybe he opted for an extra centre half because of that. But we'll see.
Yeah, and then Chris Wood, do you think over this period he could get a rest? He got a rest after international duty.
He did, but then he started all three of the game weeks 13 to 15 was that the last 3 game week. And this is a better turnaround again. It's just, again, it's It's Saturday to Thursday, I think, isn't it, for Forest? So
Yeah.
there is a chance. There is a chance, but with Spurs the way they are defensively, I would think he opts to blood him against that back line at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of Spurs, is it still going to be the makeshift Archie Gray back four?
Yeah, it looks like it. They will get a doggy back. I mean, he was on the bench for that game. He just wasn't 100%. But Postecoglou was sort of intimating that he's ready to start for this one. They've got Bentancur back as well. He was suspended for 7 matches domestically, so he's available. But apart from that, Postecoglou said it's the same. So that's Romero, Van der Ven, Vicario, Richarlison, Odegaard, Davies, and Mikey Moore out. The latter two, Davies and Moore, they're pretty close, I think.
Yeah, and it's still going to be one sort of big name on the bench with Maddison keeps scoring, but then keeps getting taken off.
Yeah,
Johnson waiting for a start.
yeah. Johnson's been benched the last two, I think, in the league. Madison's got the longest run of starts consecutively of the front six. Like the two holding midfielders and then the front four. So he's on, I think, a run of 4 consecutive starts. He does keep getting taken off early. So if I was to guess at anyone possibly getting spared, and Postecoglou hinted at this, that he would have to keep rotating, that it might be Maddison who drops out.
Yeah, interesting. So that's 5 games done, 5 to go. But I've got to quickly shout out the video sponsors, which is Fantasy EFL. Their massive triple game week that's coming up, starting on Boxing Day. Over 60 teams are playing 3 times. So there's a lot of fantasy points up for grabs, and they've got some cool prizes, including 2 League Cup final tickets. So Spurs fans, no, sorry, Spurs fans, Spurs are in it. Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle. That's right. Newcastle in the Carabao
Yes.
Cup, yeah. So those
Yes,
fans,
we are, yeah. In the semis, yeah.
yeah, 2 League Cup final tickets up for grabs for the first place team in Game Week 21 over on Fantasy EFL. So make your team using the link in the description and join the Boxing Day League using the code TGW21EFL. And that game has essentially a free hit every week, so you don't have to have played it up to now. And there's plenty of content on site building up to that if you want a bit of more Christmas excitement in your life. Cool. So we'll move on to Southampton West Ham now. Southampton, Neale.
Yeah, Jurich got his work put me through yesterday and then immediately held a press conference. But he said everything was pretty much as it was on the team news front. I think that Smallbone was targeting a return around about Christmas, so this might come too soon for him. Dario Stewart and Bazunu are still out. Corney is unavailable. He can't face his parent club, although he was playing anyway. But Jack Stevens is back from a 4-match ban.
Cool. I've completely forgot that Cornet was a Southampton player.
Yeah, I know. I did a double take as
and
well.
A West Ham player as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then moving on to the Hammers, Lopetegui keeps doing this thing where he says he has unnamed issues.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he did exactly the same. I don't think any of the doubts that he's had mentioned previously have actually amounted to anything.
Yeah.
So he says they've got a problem with 2 players this time. One's got a knee issue, but again, wouldn't name names. Of what we do know, Antonio's obviously out long term. Paqueta's banned, 5 yellow cards, but they do get Soler back from a 1-match suspension as well.
Cool. Wolves, Man United. For those watching, I haven't had time to get the Man United tweet on the screen, but I know that that's on the site, so Neale will take us through that. But starting with Wolves, Cunha,
Yep.
Everyone wants to know, because if he's available, it's a good fixture. And as it stands at 2:15 on Christmas Eve, he's good to go.
Yeah, seems like it. Yeah, we've had nothing new from Wolves or Pereira, the manager, or the FA or anything like that. So as it stands, he's available. So is Aït-Nouri now because he served his 1-match suspension at the weekend, so he comes back into the equation. Lamina, who missed out with a minor injury in game week 17, Pereira hopes to have him available. I don't think he gave us anything else on team news. Obviously, Sarabia has been out. Mosquera, Kalajic, and Gonzalez are long term, and Traore is as well, but he has been aiming for a Christmas return, so might see him at some point over the next week.
Yeah. Do you think Aït-Nouri will come back in, or will he change
I
that
don't
winning
know.
team?
Yeah, I don't know because Rodrigo Gomez did very well there the weekend, left sort of makeshift left wing back. He did talk quite at length about those two, how they've got different characteristics. There's a quote on the website if anyone wants to read that in full on the team news roundup that I've got up live on top of the site right now. So I'll refer you to that. But yeah, I'll see what the consensus opinion is on the Wolves message boards before sort of finalising my prediction.
Yeah, and he's gone with Jose Sarr in goal, just to note that.
He has.
So you'd expect that to continue after a clean sheet. Man
Yeah.
United, which I don't have on screen, but do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, this was press conference was filled in the aftermath of the Bournemouth game, so it was embargoed till today. So not much on the team news front. Um, Mount, Shaw, and Lindelof are the injured players. De Ligt only missed out because of illness. We haven't got an update on how he is, but that was just confirmed by Amorim, who talked at length about rotation. So Maguire looks like he'll drop out this one because he can't play 90 minutes twice in 3 days, whatever it is. Same with Mainu. Hoyland was benched last weekend for rotation reasons. So again, there's a big quote on that on the site if anyone wants to read it in full. And then he finished off by saying that the decision to omit Rashford was his decision and not the players. So Rashford does want to play apparently.
Yeah. So if Mainu's not going to play, then is there a chance that Bruno goes deeper?
Yeah, I think that could happen. Yeah, because Agarty's played a lot as well of late. I wonder how close he is to a rest. Um, Ericsson's like sort of he started the first game. Ericsson and Casemiro, I think, were the pairing in Amorim's first game in charge, but since then have definitely fallen down the pecking order. So I think there is a chance that Fernandes drops back into the middle for this one.
Yeah, it must be hard to predict the United team in recent
Yeah,
weeks. It seems like you score twice and then you drop out.
yeah. There's not even there are some neat patterns, but like sometimes there are some just curveballs that he throws every week where you kind of see them coming.
Yeah. Moving on to Liverpool, Leicester. Liverpool is the one club that we haven't heard from yet.
Yeah.
Slot is embargoed until tomorrow evening. So when you've had enough of your family, you can check on the website and see what what Slot has had to say. Although I can't imagine it'll be much because it's from Sunday, is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. And I mean, we only know that we think we only know that Bradley and Canati are out. Apart from that,
yeah.
it seems to be a fully fit squad. Something might have happened in between, but
Yeah.
they're the only two that we know about so far.
I guess people looking to buy Diaz, Jota, is risky.
Yeah, you'll probably get one start on the next two. Diaz, I would fancy starting because Gakpo started the last three in League and Cup over the last 7 days or so. And it's generally those two for the left wing slot. They have played together of late, but now they've got Darwin and Jota back. I think it'll revert to probably Diaz and Gakpo competing for one slot. I think it'll be Diaz. As for Jota v Darwin, they both were rested in game week 17, but I fancy Jota to possibly come back in for this one, given it's a slightly easier fixture, and Darwin hasn't exactly pulled up any trees when Jota's been out.
Yeah. Question in the chat on Kanate. He's still out, and we think until
until New Year.
Yeah.
We think probably the FA Cup weekend onwards. I would think based on the estimates I've seen so far.
Yeah. And if you are listening to this on the podcast on Boxing Day, we'll obviously have the slot quotes on the website and on the Twitter for you. Moving on to Leicester, more bad news for Leicester.
Yeah, Vardy's a doubt with a knock. Hopefully he'll get him back, but Van Nistelrooy wasn't 100% on that. And we'll see what he's like after training. They could get a goalkeeper back in Stolacic. I would pronounce that right. He's been back in training and featured for the under-21s, and God, they need it because they've got Danny Ward between the sticks at the moment. Hermanson, who is the number one, he came off with a groin injury against us, actually, against Newcastle. Missed out last weekend, and it sounds like he's still a bit of a doubt. Van Nistelrooy says he's improving on a daily basis, but they can't rush these things. So maybe he's signposting another missing game for him.
Cool. So could be probably going from the third choice to the second choice on Boxing Day.
Working our way back up.
Yeah. So that's Liverpool, Leicester, Brighton, Brentford. Moving on to the Friday fixtures. Brighton, starting with Brighton.
Yeah, he didn't give us much on the four that were out. Milner, Kadioglu, Hinchelwood, and Welbeck. Although he did say after game week 17 that Welbeck would miss this one. Matheus came off with a quad injury, but hurts the hopes that's not serious. They're going to assess him day to day. Webster and March, longer term ones, they're back in training. So it's just whether they're match fit enough to feature. I think Webster's going to do so before March. Van Hecker's fine. He suffered a cut to the head on Saturday, but he's fine. He's available. And that's pretty much it. There was, again, more quotes if you want to watch them or read them on the website about rotation, of which there definitely will be some.
João Pedro included in that?
I don't know because I think if Welbeck's out, um, and Ruta was poor at the weekend, he was kind of alongside Pedro. That Ferguson's kind of out of favour, and Cisso's kind of a little bit out of favour. Both of those being linked with a move away, so they're kind of running out of options through the middle. I think Pedro will start, but it's just who partners him at Brentford. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Because I still own João Pedro, and as we're
I do
about
too.
to hear, the Brentford injury news, they could be Thomas Frank could be playing in defence.
Yeah,
So
yeah. This is why I'm keeping Pedro and starting him this week. Um, so they are already without Josh Da Silva, Igor Thiago, Aaron Hickey, Rico Henry, and Gustavo Nunes. Pinnock and Vandenberg joined the injury list last week. Neither of them's going to be ready. Pinnock for weeks, he's going to be out, and Vandenberg sooner than that, but it's too soon this game. Thijs Jensen's still out as well. Much like Vandenberg, that's a shorter term one, but not ready for game week 18. And now they've also lost Christopher Ayer, who's another defender, and he's joined the injury list again for weeks with an ankle injury. So really, they've only got Roerslev, who's poor, Collins and me at centre half, and then Lewis Potter, who's been moonlighting as a left back of late and done quite well actually. But that is very much a makeshift back line, hence why I'm starting Pedro.
yeah, and they've already got a horrific away record. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
Brighton could fill their boots on Friday. And the second Friday game, Arsenal Ipswich. I haven't got the Ipswich tweet on screen. I don't know if you've got anything, but we'll
No, I
no.
haven't. You might have noticed when you were reading out the EFL Cup quarter semi-finalists where I went a bit I lost interest. I was trying to check if the Ipswich team news had dropped. It was due this afternoon at 1:30. McKenna was meant to face the media. I haven't seen anything yet. There's nothing on the East Anglian Daily Times, which is when I usually get it from. So I'm not sure where that is, but we do know that Delap is back from a ban. He was
Cool.
suspended in game week 17, and Morsey is out the other way. He's picked up 5 yellow cards now, so he's serving a one-match suspension. Hurst, Ogbenny, and Twanzavia injuries, they're medium to long term, so we're not going to see those, I don't think.
Yeah, and the bit of chat that Greaves might come back in after they just shipped a few goals.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. It's him or Burgess for that left-sided spot. Burgess has been playing very well. I'm not sure if one poor game, which was a collective performance, it wasn't just Burgess, if that warrants changing up the whole back line. But given that it's a 3 game week, he might do it regardless. He did it last time. There was a 3 game week. Greaves came back in. Again, I'm not sure what the reasoning was behind that, but he might just be rotating. And this might be more of a Greaves game anyway in terms of up against that back line. Burgess is sort of good in the air and that, but yeah, I do wonder whether Greaves might come back in for this one.
Yeah,
Not that he'd play him anyway, away at
yeah.
Arsenal, but he could start. Arsenal, do you want me to give the Arsenal team news as well,
Yeah, the
Tom,
Saka
while I'm here?
update. Yeah,
Yeah. This is the big one. Saka is out, as you've seen by now, probably for many weeks.
yeah.
Same with Sterling. Arteta couldn't give us a timeline on either, but it's going to be many, many weeks. He didn't mention anybody else. Tommy Asu and White, we think, are still out. Zinchenko, he said, was probably going to be back for last week. He didn't feature, but he sounds like he's nearly fit anyway.
Cool. So that Rice, I guess, comes back in, and that's. I mean, people looking at Saka replacements, Martinelli, maybe getting Jesus. I guess you're not going to take out Jesus after the week he's had,
No,
but apart from that, it could be anyone.
it could. Yeah, I mean, he talked about the different right wing options he's got, but even aside from that, he started Havertz and Jesus on Saturday, but then he didn't like what was happening off the ball with that. That's why he brought Rice on before the hour. So if anyone's going to lose out from that, it could be Havertz. Although this game is a lot, probably a lot more straightforward on paper. Um, and then yeah, you've got Rice, you've got Calafiori was back on the bench as well, so he could possibly come in at full back or even centre half. Trossard who came on for Saka, he can fit in there somewhere. So yeah, there's different permutations even with Saka out.
Yeah, so that's all 20 teams. I just wanted just quickly, Greaves jogged my mind on Anderson, another cheap defender who's back on the bench. Do you think he's lost his spot, or do you think he'll get back in that Fulham team?
He'll get back in it. It's just a matter of when. I think he's rewarding Diop and Bassi with continued starts because they have been doing quite well. Again, another clean sheet the weekend, but it's just a matter of time when Anderson comes back in and displaces Diop.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, just the main news as of Christmas Eve, Cunha is available as far as we know, and the chances are, obviously, if you're listening on the podcast on Boxing Day, do check. Just put it into Google, I suppose. You all know how to do that, but I don't expect anything will come through on Christmas Day. So if it gets past 5 o'clock today, then you'd think Cunha is good to go, and then Saka is out for many weeks. Arteta nice and clear this week. So yeah, thank you very much, Neale. Have a good Christmas.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, thanks for filling in for Joe, and yeah, happy Christmas to everybody watching, and thanks for your continued support and likes and views this season. It is very much appreciated,
Yep.
and enjoy the holidays.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. Do check out the Fantasy EFL Triple Game Week, as I mentioned, and have a great Christmas. Best of luck for Game Week 18.